So you want to land a job in cybersecurity by 2026, but you feel, well, completely stuck? I get it. It's one of the fastest growing fields out there, but trying to break in can feel pretty much impossible. In this explainer, we are going to cut through all the noise, all the confusing advice, and that endless list of certifications to give you a real step-by-step roadmap. This is going to take you from total beginner to a hireable candidate. This isn't about theory. It's all about action. Let's dive in.
This question, it's everywhere, and for a really good reason. You spend months, maybe even years studying. Maybe you even go out and get a certification. And then you start looking at job postings, and what do you see? Entry-level security analyst, 3 to 5 years of experience required. Sound familiar? It's this incredibly frustrating loop, a catch-22 that traps so many talented people before they even get a real chance to start.
And this right here, this is the heart of the problem. It's the experience paradox. It is the #1 hurdle for pretty much everyone starting out. But I want to be super clear about something. There is a way to break this cycle. And no, it's not some magic bullet or a hidden secret. It's about changing your entire approach from day one to build the one thing that truly matters to hiring managers: proof. Tangible, verifiable proof of your skills. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to understand the battlefield, the 2026 Cyber Challenge. Then it's phase 1, building that foundation you absolutely cannot skip. After that, we get our hands dirty in phase 2 with practical skills. Then we'll look to the future in phase 3, targeting the most in-demand specializations. And finally, in phase 4, we'll cover the crucial art of making yourself hireable. Let's go. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. The 2026 Cyber Challenge. See, to succeed, you have to understand the world you're about to step into. It's a field with incredible, almost unbelievable opportunity. We're talking millions of unfilled jobs globally. But the stakes have never, ever been higher. Everything from our power grids to our most personal data is on the line, every single second of every single day. So what is cybersecurity, really? It's way more than just running antivirus software or using a strong password. It is the professional practice of protecting the huge, interconnected digital systems that our entire modern world runs on. Just think about it for a second. The banking system, hospitals, supply chains, your personal photos, all of it is vulnerable. Cybersecurity pros, we're the guardians of this digital world, defending it from a constant evolving barrage of attacks. Okay, this slide is maybe the most important mindset shift you need to make. The wrong approach, which is a trap I see beginners fall into all the time, is what I call certificate collecting. You spend thousands on certs hoping they're a golden ticket. But the right approach, the one that gets you hired in 2026, is to build proof of your capability first. It's the difference between saying, I know about firewalls on a resume, and showing a project on your GitHub where you actually configured one. It's all about showing, not just telling. All right, let's get into phase 1, building your foundation. Look, before you can ever hope to defend a system, or, ethically attack one to find its weak spots, you have to understand the fundamental building blocks. These next few things are the absolute non-negotiables of the entire field. Get these right, and I promise, everything else gets so much easier. Everything in cybersecurity comes back to this, the CIA Triad. Let's make it simple. Think of a sealed letter. Confidentiality is about privacy. Only the right person should be able to read it. We do that with encryption. Integrity is about trust. How do you know the letter wasn't opened and changed? That's integrity. We use things like hashing to make sure data is unaltered. And finally, availability. The Postal Service has to be working for the letter to even get there, right? If the system is down, the info is useless. Pretty much every security measure you'll ever learn about is designed to protect one of these 3 things. You can't protect a house if you don't know where the doors and windows are. It's the exact same for networks. This is ground zero. You have to know what an IP address is. It's just the unique street address for every device. You need to get how routers and switches direct traffic, and how a firewall acts like a bouncer, deciding who gets in and who gets kicked out. And yeah, you should get familiar with the OSI model. It just helps us understand all the different layers of communication. Mastering these networking concepts is your absolute first, most critical technical step. I honestly cannot stress this enough. The pretty interfaces you're used to, clicking on icons and stuff, that's fine for everyday use. But the real power, it's in the command line. Why? Because a huge chunk of the world's servers, the entire cloud, and almost all the powerful cybersecurity tools run on Linux.
Being able to get around a system and run tools from a terminal isn't a nice-to-have skill. It's fundamental. It's faster, it's more powerful, and it's how you automate things. You have to get comfortable here. It is the language of the trade. Okay, this next phase, this is where the magic really happens. This is how we solve that whole experience paradox we talked about. It's all about taking that foundational knowledge and turning it into real, hands-on skills that hiring managers are dying to see. This is how you build your proof.
Welcome to your personal cybersecurity gym, the Home Lab. Using free software like VirtualBox, you're going to create virtual machines right on your computer. First, you set up an attacker machine, usually Kali Linux, which is packed with security tools. Then, you set up a target machine, something like Metasploitable, which is designed to be full of holes for you to practice on. Now, the most important step here is number 5, isolated. Disconnect this lab from your home network and the internet. This creates a safe sandbox where you can legally and ethically practice your skills without risking anything. This is where real experience is born. Once your lab is running, you can start playing with the real tools of the trade. You'll use Nmap to scan your target and see what doors and windows are open. Then you'll use Wireshark, which is like a microscope for network traffic, letting you see the raw data. For testing websites, Burp Suite is the absolute king. And Metasploit is a powerful framework that helps you practice exploiting vulnerabilities in a safe space. Getting good with these core tools gives you a massive head start. Look, using tools is great, but learning to code, that's a superpower. It's what really sets you apart. And for cybersecurity, Python is the perfect language to start with. Imagine you have to check 1,000 web servers for one specific flaw. Doing that by hand would take forever. With a simple Python script, you can automate that entire process down to just minutes. You can write scripts to analyze malware or even build your own custom tools. This is how you go from being just a tool operator to a real problem solver. And the best part about Python is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The power comes from its libraries. You want to build custom network packets to test a firewall? Use Scapy. Need to automate sending data to a website to check for flaws? That's what the requests library is for. These libraries are like pre-built expert-level toolkits that let you solve really complex security problems almost immediately. They make you incredibly efficient. Okay, so now you have a solid foundation and you're building practical skills. It's time to get strategic. You don't want to learn skills that are on their way out. You want to focus your time and energy on the areas where the industry is growing the fastest. This is how you make sure your skills are in high demand for 2026 and way beyond. The data is telling a really clear story about where the jobs are going in 2026. And right now, it all points to 3 key areas. Cloud security is the undisputed king. Pretty much every company is moving there. AI and security is growing like crazy, changing how we find threats. And with all the new smart devices out there, there's a huge emerging need for IoT and edge security. Focusing here is how you future-proof your career. Let's just be real for a second. In 2026, cloud security isn't really a specialization anymore. It's a baseline requirement. With almost every business running on platforms like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, you just have to understand this space. As a beginner, you don't need to be a master architect, but you do need to master the fundamentals of IAM. That's identity and access management. It's the system that controls who can do what. One tiny misconfiguration here is one of the most common causes of those huge data breaches you read about in the news. A lot of people worry that AI is going to take their jobs. In security, it's way more likely to be your best co-pilot. You see, human analysts get thousands and thousands of alerts every day. It is impossible to keep up. But AI can sort through those alerts in seconds, flagging the tiny handful that are actually critical and need a human to look at them. The key skill for 2026 isn't being replaced by AI. It's learning how to use these AI tools to investigate threats faster and more accurately. It just makes you better at your job. Now, not everybody wants to be a hands-on keyboard, command line person. And you know what? That is perfectly okay. For those of you who are super organized and enjoy policy and strategy, GRC, Governance, Risk, and Compliance, is a fantastic and super important career path. These are the people who translate all the technical stuff into business risk that executives can actually understand. They write the policies, they run risk assessments, and they get the company ready for critical audits. It's a vital and often less deeply technical way to get into the industry. Okay, this is it. The final, and I'd argue, maybe the most important phase of our roadmap. You can have all the technical skills in the world, you can build the coolest home lab, but if you can't convince a hiring manager that you have those skills, they're kind of useless. This is all about packaging and proving your value.
This number, this should change your entire approach. A recent report found that a whopping 75% of junior cybersecurity roles now list hands-on experience as a requirement. Let that sink in for a second. For entry-level jobs, this is exactly why that home lab we talked about is so absolutely vital. It's how you generate the experience the market is screaming for. It proves you've done something, not just read about it.
Let's make this crystal clear. Imagine a hiring manager looking at 2 resumes. Candidate A has 5 certifications listed. Looks impressive, right? But candidate B has 2 certs and a link to their GitHub with 3 well-documented projects. Instead of just writing knowledge of cloud security, they have a whole write-up explaining how they built a cloud lab. Who gets the interview? Every single time it's candidate B. Your projects are your proof. Your portfolio is your experience. This right here is the single most underrated and valuable skill in all of cybersecurity. I mean it. It is not enough to find a technical problem. You have to be able to explain to a manager why it matters to the business. So instead of saying, I found a stored cross-site scripting flaw, you need to be able to say, I found a flaw that could let an attacker steal the passwords of all of our customers. See the difference? One is jargon, the other is business impact. That skill is what gets you hired and promoted. So here's your action plan. Every time you finish a project in your lab, document it. Create a GitHub page with screenshots and a detailed explanation of what you did. When you learn something new, share it in a quick post on LinkedIn. You're not just showing off, you are actively building a public portfolio that serves as undeniable proof of your technical skills and, just as important, your ability to communicate them. Okay, so let's bring all this together. We have covered a ton of ground, from big ideas to specific tools and careers. But it all really boils down to a clear, actionable plan that you can literally start working on the second this is over. So let's just recap the roadmap real quick. 4 simple phases. Phase 1. Build that rock-solid foundation in networking and core security principles. Phase 2. Turn theory into action with a hands-on home lab and real tools. Phase 3. Get strategic and specialize in high-demand areas like the cloud. And Phase 4. Master the art of being hireable by documenting everything and proving your value.
I want to leave you with this final thought, because this is what the industry is really looking for. It's not about how many logos you can slap on your resume. It's about your ability to think critically, your hunger to never stop learning in a field that changes every day, and your passion for understanding how systems work, both building them and breaking them, so you can ultimately make them safer.
The attackers are constantly getting smarter. They're using AI, they're working together, and they're finding new ways in every single day. The only way to stay ahead, the only way to be a good defender, is to be a relentless learner yourself. Now, the journey we've mapped out isn't easy, but it is so rewarding, and it starts with the very first step you take after this is done. Your future in cybersecurity starts right now.